disappointing result following on from last week there. Where do you think it went wrong today?
Oh, well, unfortunately, we had the breeze in the first quarter and we were down by, 2 or 3 goals. 9 shots to 2, and the wind was quite strong. So I think, look, they came out to play. People probably wouldn't realise, but they won the premiership 20 years ago, 1999, so they're all here for a reunion. And I know that they would have had some involvement with their current day players, and you could just tell they came out a little bit more fired up than us. And before we knew it, we were a couple of goals down and into this strong break. I think we lost a little bit of confidence, and the fact they had Lewis running around out there as well, I think he was a real general for them today. And yeah, from there it didn't get any better really, but I suppose through the second and third quarter at least we were a little bit more competitive. Probably didn't put enough scoreboard pressure on in the end, and then in the last quarter we tried a few things with putting some other guys through the middle part of the ground that don't get a lot of exposure there, especially the young guys like Michael Marotta and Cam Huswaite and Cole Wellings and those sorts of guys. So because we did that, it sort of blew out a little bit at the end, 6 goals to 2 I think in the last quarter.
Yeah, it seemed as though from ground level there were stretches where we just couldn't get our hands on the ball. Is that how you saw it?
Yeah, well the contested possession count was a fair way in their favour. We knew they were the number 1 tackling team going in, so we actually out-tackled them. But I suppose when you don't have the ball as much as the oppo and when they're efficient and they were stripping of the ball in good spots and then being able to go the length of the ground at times, just their work rate was a bit stronger. They were a little bit cleaner. They kicked a bit better. In the end, I think we had similar handballs to kicks, which is not a good ratio because it actually invites the opposition to come at you a bit too, doesn't it?
Were there any particular individuals that stood out? I know it's sometimes tough in games like this, but anyone that you thought was particularly impressive?
Yeah, no, look, you're always looking for the positive. For someone like Ben Reid to get dropped to the VFL level and come out and still be a target and still work his butt off all game was a real positive for us. And you know, it would have been really difficult for him for Coxie to go in over the top of him, even though we know how good Coxie is. But for him to get a few games and look okay at the level and have his body going all right for him. Yeah, I think we're all pretty proud of him, the way he went about it with his attitude. And if we had a few more contributors like him, it would have been a different scoreline, you would have thought. I thought Shaz getting through another game. I reckon the backs are under the pump. Something shocking. I don't know it might have been a minus 30 inside 50 differential over the course of the game. And you think of Shaz, you think of Goldsack, you think of Madgen. I thought those boys can hold their head pretty high because when the ball's coming in with the service that they were getting, you know, they were trying their butts off down there, so I think those guys could have held their heads pretty high. Tyler Brown was thrown around a little bit. At one stage there, we took him out of the midfield, had him on Lewis at some stages just to learn a little bit about the midfield play, but we also put him forward to see if he could give us a bit of a target up there. So that was probably to his detriment because we just weren't getting the ball there often enough at the same time. So, yeah, but look, those young guys like, you know, R2 and Anton and those sorts of guys, Tohill will get great experience out of going against the opposition like that, and we've just got to work a little bit harder when we get the opportunities. I think we only had about 9 or 10 AFL guys today, so it wasn't a big contingent, 13 VFL boys. So yeah, look, it's always a pretty difficult task out here. I think they'll learn a lot. The track probably looked okay, but it was quite a heavy track as well. But at the end of the day, they were just a little bit more skilled, wanted it a bit more, and they were a bit more efficient.
So heading into the bye now, the first half of the season hasn't quite gone to plan, but it's a good opportunity to regroup the next couple of weeks.
No doubt about that. You know, there's still a lot of games to go in the season, and we know if we get on a roll, we can string a lot of games together. There's no problems there. Hopefully we get a few more boys back, and we get a bit more of that AFL contingent in there. I think the biggest thing at the minute that I can see is that we're not playing quite as well as what the seniors play in their role and shape and their game plan and things. And look, we've got a pretty young squad, and I think we've said to most of them after the game today, look, go away, you've got 2 weeks to think about it now. Like, what do I need to do to contribute to this team? What sort of role, what sort of game do I need to play? And I think a few are playing like the way they want to play rather than the way the team wants to play. So if we can get that nailed over the next couple of weeks, and we're a team defence first side, so we've got to do better in those circumstances. And I think we're showing some signs that we can do it. We're just not doing it consistently enough. Then off that, we'll get the offence that we need, because to kick, 6 goals 3 is not ideal. And even last week, I think we were only 10 goals 4. So we're just not getting enough opportunity forward of the ball. And if we can learn to defend better and then maybe go a little bit quicker and speed off that, like the seniors do, we'll be in better shape, I reckon, as far as the scoreline, and that's what we've got to hang our hat on to try and educate, upskill, and sort of get to those individuals that we need to see if we can get some better performances over the coming weeks.